Welcome into 2-for-1 Drafts. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner, ready to bring you some fiery content on this Monday. I think we're going from Tuesday, Thursday now.
Don't set the standard too high. We're gonna bring you okay content, and then we're maybe hopefully gonna over-deliver.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Today we're going to be doing a little quarterback and running back class overview for the 2020 NFL Draft, and we've talked about the top 5 guys, top 10 guys ad nauseum with both of these positions. So what we're going to do is walk through all of the players that will be, or all of the players at each position that will be in the 2020 NFL Draft Guide update that will come out on February 24th, all available to Edge and Elite subscribers. Really excited for that next update. 250 players added to the Draft Guide.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
But it's hopefully going to be, hopefully, it's going to be the best draft guide we've ever done.
Yeah,
that I can promise you guys. It'll be the best draft guide we've ever done.
It's already. I think it's. I'm talking to the guys. It's going to be over 700 pages.
Yeah.
This 250-person draft guide is going to be over 700 pages. That is absurd.
It's only going to get bigger.
I don't think you've even read a book that's 300 pages, Mike.
No, I have not. I definitely have not. No, this will be the longest thing I'll ever read.
All right, let's dive into the quarterback class. Starting with no particular order, like I said, we're going to kind of throw some names at you. We're going to go Cole McDonald to start. This guy, I think, did crack the top 10 of PFF's latest quarterback rankings right at 10.
And he's moving up the board.
Really?
He cut the dreads.
Because he cut the dreads. I remember talking about way early when we first started this podcast, we were saying you get Cole McDonald, cut the dreads, maybe he loses some of that risk, some of that danger with those dreads, and he's become
the dreads were a red flag.
A huge red flag.
A yellow flag hanging on top of his head.
A dead flag. They were literally dead locks on his head. But Cole McDonald, freshly shaved, looking great. And he's the guy who moving up the board, but did crack our top 10 on PFF's latest quarterback rankings. This guy's the classic roller coaster prospect, in my opinion.
Yeah. He was top 5 in the nation in both turnover-worthy plays and big-time throws. A roller coaster, like you said, very much a roller coaster of a prospect. That Hawaii offense is absurd considering projecting to the NFL. 5 wide. Almost every snap, at least 4 wide every single snap, actually. Like, they actually ran 4 wide every single snap that he was there at Hawaii not under center, in the shotgun. So it was just a weird offense to play in, a weird projecting to the NFL, but he has a big arm, and he's actually kind of accurate. He was still, I believe he was top 20 nationwide in terms of his accuracy on throws from 1 to 10 yards downfield, which you think big arm, you think raw quarterback, you think inaccurate. No, he kind of actually has some accuracy to work with, so that's why he cracks the top 10 for us.
Do you see him moving up in the process moving forward, maybe with the combine and pro days, some interviews coming up, no dreads? Is Cole McDonald locked in at 10, or does this guy have a chance to go up or down? Are there other quarterbacks that can push him out of the top 10?
No, I feel like QB's one position where the whole pre-draft process is so... After the Senior Bowl you can actually move. Like, Senior Bowl is something, but like the testing numbers, whatever, that doesn't even move the needle for us. We have the data. We have watched and graded all these throws. I think the rankings at the quarterback position now are fairly set for us. We have, it's just like the on-field is so much more important than the sort of testing, what you do in this whole circus before the draft.
All right, let's jump to the next quarterback then. James Morgan, who I think I've seen getting some buzz.
He's getting some buzz.
He's getting some buzz. Is it rightfully so he's getting some buzz?
No, it's not rightfully so. This one blows my mind that James Morgan getting buzz. So the Florida International quarterback is
Alex Magoo came out of Florida International.
not helping his cause there, but 6'4", 215, very much looks the part. Pretty big arm, easy release, but then you look. He threw 14 touchdowns this year, 5 interceptions, averaged 7.1 yards per attempt, 58 completion percentage. Had more
grading is not great.
Had more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws. Finished with a 69.1 passing grade this past year. I'm pretty sure Joe Burrow had a better grade than that every single game he played in. He's not that good. Yeah. This guy at playing the quarterback position is not that good. And yes, arm talent will get you drafted. If you have a big arm, chances are you'll go somewhere on day 3. But he's just not accurate with it. And his feet are all over the map in the pocket. I went in wanting. I go and watch these small school guys at quarterback wanting to find that gem, wanting to be convinced, wanting to hop on board,
like you did with the UAB kid.
Yes, and no, and this is not the guy I'm going to hop on board. This is not the case.
Yeah, looking more into the grades and stuff. He ranked 68th in the country in PFF passing grade at 69.1. James Morgan of FIU, and only 14 big time throws on 368 attempts. That scares me when you're trying to talk about a guy with a big arm that has this potential to make big plays. Where are the big plays? And that speaks to the accuracy. If you have a big arm and you have this arm talent that you speak to with James Morgan, but you're not connecting down the football field, and inaccurate big arms aren't that great. I'll tell you that right now. They're overrated in a sense. He also had 18 turnover-worthy plays. Like you said, more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws. I mean, this is a concerning grading profile for James Morgan.
Yeah, it very much is. Like, he is... I mean, I get why if you're going to be drafting him, you know he's project. Like, you very much know. But, like, the things that you would want out of a project, that's what I'm saying. Like, Cole McDonald has them. I don't think James Morgan necessarily does.
All right, let's jump to Nate Stanley, who has a much better grading profile than James Morgan. The Iowa quarterback, he earned an 81.5 PFF passing grade, which ranked 30th in the country this past year. Standing out to me right now, though, 28 big-time throws, only 9 turnover-worthy plays for Nate Stanley. That is an impressive ratio.
Yeah, he stands just outside probably of our top 10. If we were to take it to like 12, he would have been on that list at the quarterback position. There's things to like about him. Plays pro-style offense, took snaps from under center, that sort of thing. 6'4", 242, big dude. And he did have a good grade this past year, 81.5 passing grade this past season, like you mentioned, protects the football, but a lot underneath stuff in that offense. I think his just accuracy is not great. He has very much been, over the course of his career, left a lot of plays on that football field. Never been a guy, never completed over 60% of his passes in a single seaon there at Iowa, 3 years of starting. So I do think there's something here. Like, I think he's probably like a 4th, 5th round type of guy that, kind of like CJ Beathard before him, who you can hang on a roster, but I'm not. There's a reason why he fell outside of the top 10 QBs. And again, the accuracy or lack thereof, just he's shown that, throughout his career.
Yep. All right, let's jump to Tyler Huntley, the former Utah quarterback. I think he has some athleticism to his game. I do like what he did at Utah, but again, I don't know if this guy's really a top. Is this guy a top quarterback prospect? You can't say that.
No. He's. The biggest thing is that he can run. Like, his legs are a weapon for him. He very much, the grading this past season was very favorable to him. He had an 89.0 passing grade, but a lot of that is kind of when things weren't there, he wasn't putting the ball in harm's way. Kind of how the Jalen Hurts-esque grading well, in terms of he graded well because a lot of times when things broke down or when he didn't get through his reads, he would run, break the pocket, get out, and make plays with his legs. And so not taking those negative throws, but also I don't think he's athletic enough to necessarily move the needle as a rusher in the NFL at the quarterback position. And then he's just very much just a project as a passer still. Like, he has a super long release, only 6'1", 205. I'd probably still draft him. He's probably still a draftable prospect, but yeah, he's not as good as that 89.0 passing grade would suggest.
Yeah, going into that, passing grade, 89.0 with only 18 big-time throws and 6 turnover-worthy plays. This guy's accurate with the football. I mean, he had the second lowest uncatchable inaccurate percentage of any quarterback in college football this past year. Only Keaton Slovis threw a lower number of uncatchable inaccurate passes for Tyler Huntley. He beat out Joe Burrow in that regard. I think not being accurate with the football, but again, this is a guy that pressed the football downfield. Didn't take a ton of risks at Utah, and I think the rushing ability, like you said, does add to his profile for sure. Going to Josh Love. You know who likes Josh Love? I think George Chahuri likes Josh Love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's in the advanced analytics.
I like Josh Love.
This guy's got some talent.
He, to me, he's like a mid-round type of quarterback prospect, a 3rd or 4th rounder. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that. He graded out extremely well for us. I love his pocket presence. He did really well under pressure. Like, the dude didn't take a lot of sacks, stood tall in the pocket. Now, the reason he's probably not getting hype like James Morgan's getting hype is because he's 6'2", 200 pounds. Like, the guy is not built like you'd want an NFL QB. Doesn't look the part. Arm strength, very average. Very average for the NFL level. So from that perspective, you're never gonna get hype. Yeah. As a small school quarterback, no one's gonna buy into those numbers. When you put up big numbers, no one's gonna buy into them. And he put up good, not great numbers, 6.9 completion percentage, 8.2 yards per attempt, 22 picks to 8 touchdowns this past season. But I will say that I'm not surprised that the advanced numbers love him, because you watch him play the game. Accurate, very accurate with the football. I think there is something to work with here with Josh Love, San Jose State QB. Like I said, 28 big-time throws this past year, 14 turnover-worthy plays. That's a pretty good ratio.
Definitely, I mean, impressive grading profile. The accuracy stuff definitely stands out. When you talk to George Chahuri and Eric Eager, the data scientists here at PFF, if they like a guy, it's worth turning back on the tape. They're telling me some other guys as well, looking at offensive line metrics. Michael Onwenu.
Onwenu.
I don't know.
I actually don't know that.
Stop.
Sure.
All right. Well, Josh Love, another one of those mid-round quarterback prospects, but one of which that is, grading profile stands out. I think, not doesn't look the part from a size standpoint, but a name to know.
Could very much be like a, the name's now slipping my mind. Mullen, the backup for the
Nick
49ers.
Mullins.
Nick Mullins, yeah. Very much like that. Very super productive in college at Southern Miss. Graded out really well his last year there. Kind of just flew under the radar because the size, the arm strength didn't fit the mold. But then he gets a shot in the NFL and, outplays, a lot of other backups around the league.
Tell me what you know about Kevin Davidson.
I know he went to Princeton, and I know we're grading his games currently, and he will be in the draft guide. But I will get to his tape once the grading is done this week, and we'll give you a full report on Davidson when that does come up. But Kevin Davidson was requested by NFL teams for us to grade him. So this guy, there might be some real buzz around this guy, the Princeton quarterback, Kevin Davidson. Yeah, he put up really big numbers in the Ivy League there.
Definitely going to have to dive into that tape.
Yeah,
NFL teams, I remember NFL teams early in the process were asking for Jimmy Garoppolo. I remember Jimmy Garoppolo was a big name. They're like, hey, we need to get this. We need grades for these guys. But that's good company. Kevin Davidson, that's good company to be in when teams are asking for your grades from PFF. All right, Steven Montez. I'll tell you right now, Renner, I don't love Steven Montez. He didn't grade super well for us this past year. He did not look good at all at the Senior Bowl. Oakland native, I have a little bit for that. I'm from Oakland as well, but outside of that, I can't get on the bandwagon that is Steven Montez.
And the thing is, he starts as a sophomore back in 2017, 75.0 passing grade, and has gotten worse since then. He has not improved whatsoever. Had a big arm. I thought after that year, I'm like, oh, Steven Montez, this guy's going to be a name to watch. After what he was doing in that season, and then the last 2 years, we've been talking about how Laviska Shenault, they can't get him the ball down the football field because the quarterback situation there. We're not calling Montez out by name, but it's because it's Montez. Montez is not just has a strong arm.
Over 22% of his passes were uncatchable or inaccurate. Yeah. That's outside the top 60 in ranks. He only just a 72.3 PFF passing grade, 14 big-time throws, 15 turnover-worthy plays. That ratio
not improving is also the scary thing. So.
It's a huge concern.
And already 23 years old as well.
Oh, man. So I didn't know he was that old, too. Jeez. That is red flag city for Steven Montez.
And then, the Senior Bowl performance was less than stellar, we'll say.
All right, let's get to a guy that Eric Eager calls the number 3 quarterback prospect in the 2020 NFL Draft. It's Anthony Gordon of Washington State. He's sipping the Kool-Aid on Washington State's offense. Same with Gardner Minshew. The analytics guys were high on Gardner Minshew, too. He graded really well. I thought Anthony Gordon looked good at the Senior Bowl, accurate with the football. I like his decision-making inside and outside of structure. Doesn't have the arm talent. Okay. Not as accurate as Gardner Minshew. I think I would say that as well. But Anthony Gordon, there's some moxie there, and now the grades are backing it up. I could get on board.
Man, I just can't get that Utah game out of my head because Utah's defense, best defense he faced all year, and obviously it was going to be difficult for him. Not a ton of pure talent on that Washington State offense outside of Easop Winston Jr.
Man,
in terms
didn't
of
even get an invite to the combine. It's over. My Easop train is over. The hype train is dead because he didn't get an invite to the combine. I'm pissed.
But in that Utah game, he had 8 turnover-worthy plays, and it just completely fell apart to the point where I was just this is awful. It was just now. Yes, it was only his 5th start ever as a college quarterback.
But he takes way more risks than Gardner Minshew ever did.
But he's much more of he takes those chances down the football field, but he takes
bad chances.
Too many bad chances.
Yeah, he does not take calculated risks. He takes some bad risks and they show up on tape.
And so, but he does have some of that. Okay, I'm going to say Patrick. I'm going to bring up Patrick Mahomes' name, but it has nothing to do with it. But in terms of he has some of that, just innate quarterbacking to him, where it's just.
Oh no, you saw that in the Senior Bowl too. His best plays, I think you said this before the Senior Bowl. Anthony Gordon's at his best when things break down and you have to have those instincts and that innate quarterback. Exactly. Create something on your own.
Throw making in terms of throwing a guy open where he might not necessarily be open, but you put it on his leverage instead of the defender's leverage. He's good at those things, but bad decisions with football. Doesn't have that big of an arm, but he has a really pretty release. We talked about that with.
Well, overconfident, I would say, with his arm
with
sometimes.
Seth Molina,
he tries to fit some certain things. Then you get a little, Anthony Gordon, what are you
calling
doing?
him the 3rd best QB in you look at the grades. He had 81.8 grade this past year, but if you take out the Utah game, it bumps up close to 90 because that's how bad that Utah game was for his grading profile. But I can see why the data would love him, and there's a lot to like about this guy. I'm just lower on him because I get scared when guys completely fall apart because it's those are the defenses you face in the NFL. When it's the toughest defenses you face in college are the ones you face in the NFL week in and week out. And if you just completely fell apart, that doesn't bode well for it's like that Mitch Trubisky against NC State coming out. Good defense there at NC State that last year, and he just absolutely ate shit that whole game. Looked awful. And, well, we've seen what happened in the NFL.
I'm going to tell you something, though. When we say, like, the data guys or, the data scientists, George and Eric are high on somebody, for the quarterback position, it's going to come down to a handful of things. He's got to be very accurate with the football, limit mistakes from a clean pocket, and grade well from a clean pocket. You see that with Andy Gordon a lot. Only 16.2% of his passes were uncatchable, inaccurate, charted by PFF. That ranks inside the top 5 at the quarterback position, and 68.7% were accurate or accurate plus in PFF's ball charting. I mean, this guy is very accurate with the football, good from a clean pocket. When you have those types of numbers, you're going to perform well in the predictive metrics that PFF is putting together.
Yeah, and he's makes quick decisions with the football, and you love guys that come from offenses like Washington State where it's on them. They have to win. If they're going to win a game, it's because of them. Yeah. And it's like when you see a guy like Nate Stanley who's so protected by the run game, the Iowa QB, so protected by the run game, so protected by play action, like it wasn't on him to win football games, so protected by a good defense, that sort of thing. It was on Gordon to win football games every week. And UCLA game, he did.
Dude, that UCLA game was fantastic. Yeah. What a game to watch. All right, let's move forward to Jacob Eason, the guy that gets a lot more hype. He's been talked about a little bit more.
They lost that UCLA game, right?
Oh, no, I think they might have lost that UCLA game.
Oh, man.
You're right.
Oops. But he put up a lot of points. So
he did. Yeah, that's all that matters, right? Jacob Eason. I mean, the story is this guy is two different people. There's a Jacob Eason that's from a clean pocket, and then there's this Jacob Eason that's kind of like a nightmaric character from when he's under pressure. Looking at the grading profile, a 91.7 PFF passing grade from a clean pocket, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks. From a pressured pocket, under pressure, a 37.6 PFF passing grade with 3 picks, only two touchdowns, a low completion percentage. This guy struggles, and that's an understatement, under pressure. We've said it about Jacob Eason pretty much every time we bring him up, and when you're that cataclysmic under pressure, when you're that much of a problem under pressure, it's hard to get behind you as a quarterback.
Yeah, and it's not like just the fact that he's bad under pressure. It's the reason why he's bad. It's because he's panicking.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like, a couple bad decisions, whatever, stepped in throws and then like threw it to a linebacker, missed linebackers. You can live with that. You can't live with the guy falling away and the Derek Carr throws.
Yep.
Like those are the ones where it's like actually scary about projecting to the next level because like we said, he had a very good offensive line at Washington. He was not under that much pressure. Something like 22% of his dropbacks were under pressure. And the other scary thing is he took 22 sacks this year. We charged him with 8 of those.
Oh man.
Not the offensive line.
That's the worst combo. That's the bad combo.
Rate. Like yes.
you panic under pressure and make bad decisions, rush your process, all those things, and then also, and when you don't rush the process, when you don't make that bad throw, you're taking sacks that you shouldn't have taken. Man, that is a bad combination for projecting a quarterback at the next level. I mean, that's one I'd be scared to get behind. Let's move to Shea Patterson. You think Shea Patterson, former 5-star, big pedigree, dude, loved coming out of college. This guy is one of the worst
coming out of high school. Like at Elite 11 was awesome to watch because it's 7-on-7, but he was just like so confident in his throws, all like some beautiful downfield throws. And the high end with Shea was great. Even at Michigan, at Ole Miss, it was great. Like he had games where he would just bury teams. And you're just like, this guy's a first round type of prospect. Like he's that talented, can make plays outside the pocket, has athleticism, has a quick release, but then is just all over the map. The guy is just like up and down.
Talk about all over the map. This past year, fewer than 50% of his passes were accurate. He ranked outside the top 100 in uncatchable accurate percentage. You look at from a clean. You talk about Jacob Eason being bad under pressure. 31.1 PFF passing grade under pressure for Shea this past year. A 90.4 from a clean pocket. This guy needs an ideal situation to put the ball accurately, let alone make a good decision. You can't be in love with what you've seen with Shea Patterson. And if you look at his grades and look against just good competition, I mean, this guy's really struggled to elevate and bring himself above, where he needs to be.
Yeah. It's very much so. And he's also old, 23 years old, right? It's like, I don't think you're going to fix this guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's been every single year of his career.
I think, what role this guy needs at the next level? It's a little bit hot take. Taysom
Safety.
Hill. No. I think you put this guy in a Taysom Hill role because he's athletic. He has good size. 6'2", 205, maybe not great size. Yeah. But, this combine for him is so important. You better prove
you better
prove that 5-star pedigree has some athleticism to it because if you come in there and run like in the late 4.7s, 4.8s, you're coming off boards at this point.
He needs a Trace McSorley-esque combine.
Yes, there's another comp. I think I took Trace McSorley, Taysom Hill, put himself in that role. Shea Patterson, you could be a punt protector at the next level. A personal
PPR.
protector if you want to be something in the NFL. Let's get it. You want to play on Sundays? All right. That's a little harsh on Shea. But let's move to a much better quarterback prospect. The next guy on this list here, kind of random order, but Tua Tagovailoa of Alabama. The injury is the first thing that comes up with his name. It says he's saying, or reports are saying, that he will be fully healthy by the time of the draft. Does that mean he plays in 2020? We'll see. But regardless, push the injury aside. Let's just throw it to the side here. 2 years of elite grading, over 90.0 plus in the SEC. He has 2 of the top 15 all-time single-season PFF passing records, or highest passing grades in the college era. He's that good. On the field, this guy's one of the better quarterback prospects in this draft, let alone what we've seen in the past 4 or 5 drafts.
Yeah, the analytics love him. Pretty much everything. Like, there's pretty much all in agreement. If he was fully healthy, dude's a franchise quarterback prospect.
Yes.
He's not Joe Burrow, but he's a franchise quarterback type of prospect.
Dude's fully healthy. The Washington Redskins are strongly thinking about him at number 2.
And with the injury, though, I'm saying I would not take that chance on him with how serious the repercussions could be,
especially
and how
with
good
Chase
Young is. But I do have to laugh when everyone's quoting this report about the CT scan or whatever coming back and the bones healing. It's like, that was not the problem. Like the one everyone's like quoting is like, oh, good signs or good returns from Tua. That's not the issue at all that people are worried about.
His agent is pushing.
Yeah, exactly.
That, my friend.
Like, that one, like that whole report means nothing to his like long term. What people are actually worried about.
I actually
about
elevated his draft stock after that report, so I don't know what you're talking
so like everyone's pumping that up. That's not the thing you're worried about. Bones heal. Like, that was always going to happen. His bone was always going to get back to 100%. It was whether or not the bone inside the blood supply is still going to his hip that we won't know for probably another couple months for sure.
For listeners that don't know, Mike's dad's a doctor, and a hot take from Mike: bones heal. So here we are, really dropping some fire medical advice or medical reasoning, facts, logistics. I don't know. I mean, this is just great content.
I do. Like he'll talk to me for like an hour about Tua's injury, and I'll be like, Dad, like you've repeated this like 3 times.
This is a Wendy's.
I'm like, I just wanted to know like the just give me like the long and short of it, and then he'll give me the history about hip injuries throughout.
You thought this was 2-for-1 drafts? It's 3-for-1. We got medical advice. We got to bring your dad on the pod.
Well, we should actually
bring your dad on the pod. I'm in. I'm all in. Or your mom. I mean, she's. Well, let's not get into your mom. All right, Jalen Hurts of Oklahoma, next quarterback here. I think with Jalen Hurts, there's people who when you talk about Jalen Hurts, I've been asked on multiple radio hits. Jalen Hurts could probably fit in the NFL because of Lamar Jackson, what the Baltimore Ravens are doing. This guy's not the same level athlete. He's not even as accurate as Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. And I just don't think they're on the same tier of quarterbacks. I think Jalen Hurts would be a great backup behind Lamar Jackson. I don't see him as a starter at the next level. And if he is, it's going to be for another team that has to completely adapt their offense to his skill set. One of which that is a tier below, if not 2 tiers below, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, ideally, like I like in a perfect world, yes, you would like adapt your offense to him, but it's not quite that simple. Like not every offense coordinator like knows how to scheme up the way Greg Roman does, or knows how to adapt their offense to a guy's strengths like that. So yes, ideally you would have a good offensive mind who would be able to take advantage of his skill set, but that's just not the way like the NFL works nowadays. He just does not have the ability. So the comp for him right now is Tyrod Taylor, but I don't even think he's as accurate down the football field as Tyrod Taylor.
I would agree with you.
Tyrod Taylor is still able to beat you over the top more than I think Jalen Hurts has proven throughout his career at Alabama and Oklahoma and at the Senior Bowl, where he was kind of all over the place on those deep balls.
100%. He did grade really well. I think he was in a system that really benefited his skill set. An 89.4 PFF passing grade this past year, tied for 7th with Tanner Morgan, who is a name to know for next year. He came into the Cincinnati offices recently as well. I don't know if you met Tanner Morgan when he came in, but Tanner, good dude. Well, we kind of don't like telling you things here at PFF, but Tanner Morgan tied with him. Jalen Hurts,
in the office either,
18 big-time throws, 14 turnover-worthy plays. And I think the 18 big-time throws with that high grade, a lot of that, I mean, he was accurate on a lot of the underneath stuff, but they didn't ask him to do a ton down the football field. Yeah. And rightfully so. You start to push the ball down the football field, his accuracy metrics, his grading looks a lot worse. They relied on a lot of guys after the catch here.
Yeah, I mean, he worked the intermediate level. I mean, it's that Lincoln Riley offense is just... It's fucking money. Like it's just there's guys running wild in that offense, so that also helped out. So
yep. All right, let's go to Jake Fromm. I think the number 4 quarterback according to PFF's latest position rankings. Jake Fromm ahead of Jacob Eason, ahead of Jordan Love. That's where we have him right now.
Jake Fromm is like the college version of he was Alex Smith in college, just like very much quick decisions, going to get the ball where it needs to go, going to do it quickly, not going to turn over the football. You put it on his back, it's not going to end great for you. It's just, that's who he is, and that's like, you can work with that in the NFL. It's just, yes, if you're drafted in the first round, I would probably set my sights a little higher. But like in a second rounder, if you need a backup quarterback, like I would go and take this guy in a heartbeat because I think he can win you football games. But I don't think he's like, again, like you should set your sights a little higher than someone like Jake
Ceiling
Fromm.
is limited. I mean, he's not going to be a quarterback at the next level that, like you said, when you put the game on his shoulders, he takes it to the next level and wins you football games.
Yeah.
But if you need a guy where you already have a good defense, which is rare, and you already have a good offensive line, these things, then he can come in and win you a handful of games in a pinch. Maybe Jake Fromm's your guy. Taking him in the first round, though, I think that is rich. I don't know if I do it, even with positional value included.
Yeah, and he is just, like I said, he's just limited. And you can win with his limitations. You can still, like I said, not going to take sacks, not going to turn the ball over, going to execute your offense. And so I can see a team falling in love with him. I could see, like the Patriots at the back end of the first round falling in love with him and being willing to take a shot on him because he has there's a lot of things about the quarterback position he does well, but then he's not super accurate, and then the downfield throws just aren't there.
The accuracy is the biggest concern for me. 25.8% of his throws were charted as uncatchable, inaccurate passes, and that when you get over that 20% number is when you get into this tier of inaccuracy. That is a huge concern. That's hard to win with at the next level, especially when you start to see him push the ball downfield 10+ yards down the football field. And another thing too, yes, 24 big time throws, only 7 turnover-worthy plays, but a lot of that is when he tries to push the ball down the football field, he's not that guy that has that high end in his game.
And also we talked about the Anthony Gordon thing. Anthony Gordon, it was on his back every time. It was not on Jake Fromm's back. Only 7 games in his entire college football career did he take at least 35 dropbacks.
Oh, wow.
Anthony Gordon took more than that every single game this year. Anthony Gordon had at least 35
God bless you, Mike Leach.
in every single game.
God bless you.
Right?
I can't wait to watch Mississippi State this year.
Yeah.
KJ Costello, Kylan Hill, the bowling ball.
That'll be fun.
Kylan Hill's so good in the first 3 weeks of the season. You get on board with him, really excited. He forces like 8 missed tackles against Southern Miss. You're like banging the table for this guy in the draft. But I think with Mike Leach, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, he'll get thrown the ball. Hopefully, to prove that.
If I was a running back, and maybe this is why he came back, but like you get an opportunity to work with Mike Leach and get thrown the football. Whoa, like that's next level. You see running backs that don't even have near like 50 targets in their career before they go to the NFL.
That's probably better for your draft stock nowadays than going to somewhere like Wisconsin where they're just going to
100%
grind you into dust.
Yep. All right. Now we're getting to the upper tier here, the upper echelon. Joe Burrow is the next quarterback we got to bring up here.
Yeah, I would say these ones, like, we've hammered these guys. Like, you know our takes on Joe Burrow. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is awesome. I mean, he's up there. He's earned the best single-season passing grade PFF's ever seen at the college level, and he did it in the SEC. He did it in the college football playoff. This guy was truly special this past year. Older prospect, sure. Had a great supporting cast. Joe Brady, we don't care. This guy was accurate to a level we've never seen. Good inside the pocket, outside the pocket, clean, pressured. I don't really care. Jersey number, it doesn't matter. Joe Burrow was absolutely fantastic this past year.
His ability to work the pocket is probably the most impressive thing that kind of gotten swept under the rug with Burrow. He is unlike any other college quarterback I've ever seen in his ability to just navigate. Like navigate tight pockets and keep his eyes up downfield and make plays. Like that offensive line, they won the Joe Moore Award or whatever, but like they weren't that good.
Yeah.
Like the tackles were kind of rough there. He was under a lot of pressure, or a lot more pressure than like Tua at Alabama. Like their offensive line was not at that sort of level, but he operated very well from it still.
Absolutely. All right, last 2 quarterbacks on the quarterback class overview. Remember, all of these guys will be in the 2020 NFL Draft Guide that drops on February 24th on PFF.com. Subscribe to PFF's Edge or Elite subscription to get full access to that. Download that. Definitely do it. Mike Renner's hard work. Over 750 pages, dude. It's freaking Bible length, bro. This is next level. All right, last 2. Justin Herbert of Oregon. You have our takes on him. We're not as high on him as others are. Yes, we believe he has some of the best arm talent in the class.
Yeah.
Looks the part. I've raved about the kid's hair. It's great hair. I'm not going to lie to anyone here. Great hair. But Justin Herbert, when the game's on his shoulders, when he's got to rise to the occasion and be the best player on the football field, that's where you see him crumble, and it's just so hard to get behind that.
Yeah, man, the people that are trying to pump up his Utah and Wisconsin big wins. Stop. It's just like he threw the ball 20 times against Wisconsin for 138 yards and had a pick and no touchdowns. He has 64.4 passing grade against Wisconsin, 58.3 against Utah. They did not win those games because of Justin Herbert. It was because of the defense, because of their running. Like his athleticism has gotten underrated. I think you can actually run with him in the quarterback design running game.
I think not enough people are making comps to athletic quarterbacks at the next level.
Yeah.
One that have primary, like Josh Allen. I think he has similar athleticism into where you could run some designed Justin Herbert runs at the next level and have success.
And the thing is, if you draft him top 10. And he's going to go top 10. He has
that's a lock.
Too big of an arm.
I guarantee that.
Too big of an arm to go top 10.
Too good of a face. Way too good of a face.
You don't 6'6", 240 doesn't last long in quarterback position with a cannon. That just that gets drafted top 10. I'm not going to hate on it because there is something there is a lot there. He makes some special throws down the football field that other guys can. That arm talent does play at the next level. And it's not like he's inaccurate. Like I've been banging the table, he's not like your normal big arm quarterback. Tyree Jackson's, your Josh Allen's of the world, who kind of you got to. You're just when they throw it, you don't know where it's necessarily going. No, he's pretty good about that.
Sub 20% uncatchable inaccuracy percentage.
So there is there's reasons to fall in love, and if you're going to draft him top 10, I'm not going to hate on it too much because of the quarterback value, because of what hitting on him would mean. But it's just I'd rather go else.
Also, to compare Justin Herbert to Jake Fromm, Jake Fromm's ceiling is significantly lower than what Justin Herbert brings to the table, and that's why you feel more comfortable.
But it's just you're limited. Your offense is limited with Jake Fromm. Herbert, any offense you want to run, he can do anything. Yeah.
The problem is when is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? He's going to do it against the worst team in the NFL, maybe bad defenses. But is he going to do it when it comes crunch time? Is he going to do it in the postseason? And that's where we've seen him oftentimes fail.
Honestly, the comp for him in the draft guide is Ryan Tannehill, and I could see him having a career kind of like Tannehill, where it's just very meh for a while, and then puts it flat, flips the switch at one point and buries some teams and actually goes to town for a few games in a row, but then comes back down to earth at some point.
I like that comp. I kind of like it. All right, last quarterback on the quarterback overview, it's Jordan Love. We talked about him a ton as well. High-low, roller coaster. Again, another guy that he has more high end than Jake Fromm, but he's a guy where the low end comes up way more often than you'd like to see, especially against lower level competition. Against in the Mountain West, had some games that were some bad games you don't want to see against Mountain West competition, some bad decision making, not always accurate with the football. And then you watch that game against LSU. I mean, this guy crumbles. He starts to press. He knows he's losing, and when he does start to press, it looks even worse. I think Jordan Love, I think he's fixable potentially, maybe fixable, and what you fix him to become is pretty spectacular at the next level. But again, the low end right now is a huge concern.
Yeah, we'll start on the positives because we actually probably haven't thrown a ton of positives out for Jordan Love over the course of the process, because we've been arguing against that first round narrative on him. But he has ridiculous touch with football. He has some throws where he knows how to put it over a linebacker in front of the safety. He will adjust the speed of the ball based on where it needs to go. Puts it in a bucket down the football field very, very well. And that's probably one of the biggest things that he lost this year was plays like that. He had a throw against LSU that got picked off by I think it was Derek Stingley picked him off on a go ball to where. Joe Burrow makes that throw. It's a touchdown because Jamar Chase is coming down with it. It was a perfectly placed go ball. It was just his receiver got fucking toasted at the catch point, and Derek Stingley's Derek Stingley. So he lost a lot of yardage on stuff like that because he just didn't have guys who could win on those go balls, and he throws a really nice one. And so that a lot of that came out of the Utah State offense this past season. And he does not take sacks. He's very good about not taking sacks. Sometimes that comes at the detriment in terms of he throws the ball into, he's just throwing it up for grabs at times. But he had one of the lowest sack rates in the country each of the last 2 years. So there is positives. Those are things that are good to work with at the next level. Being able to drop it in the bucket, not taking sacks are good things. There's a lot of bad, though, too.
Yeah,
We've touched on the bad.
There's a ton of bad with Jordan Love. And I think the positives are reasons why at the back end of the first round you see teams getting mocked Jordan Love, or even sometimes in the middle of the first round.
Yeah,
but I think right now we see him as a day 2 prospect where you start to feel comfortable taking a flyer on Jordan Love. Yeah. All right, it's time to get in these running backs. Running back overview of the 2020 NFL draft class. I'm going to start with our running back 1, according to PFF's latest position rankings. It's Zach Moss.
We should probably throw Lynn Bowden in here, too.
Yes.
Even though he's not a wide receiver. We're going to throw Lynn Bowden.
I thought it was Bowden.
Damn it, it's Bobby Bowden, but Lynn Bowden.
I can get down on Bowden, to be honest. All right, well, let's start with Zach Moss. Okay. PFF's top running back in the NFL draft right now, and the reason is that this guy's a force miss tackle machine. And when you look at the force miss tackle metrics, those are yards after contact per attempt, force miss tackles per touch. Those are metrics that have high predictive power going from college to pro. So does athleticism and things like that. But Zach Moss is the best tackle breaker in this class, hands down.
Yes, he has the highest force miss tackle rate per attempt, 0.38. 0.38. The next closest among any guys in this list is Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 0.33. So pretty considerably higher than anyone else in this draft class. And you look at guys, some of the other top running backs around the country, and they're not even close to Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor, Jesus, who are the other ones? DeAndre Swift. I'm just like losing it right now. They are not even close in terms of being able to break tackles. Now they do other things well, and we'll touch on them when we get to them. But Zach Moss is just super elusive, and one of the most elusive running backs we've ever graded multiple seasons now, whether it's receiving or as a runner. It comes from a system in Utah where they run a lot of zone stuff. Like, he's very adept at making those reads necessary. So that's why he's running back 1, just because we feel the safest about him. Maybe he doesn't have the highest ceiling of these guys, but we feel good about those things translating.
Contact balance, power. I mean, this guy brings a lot to the table.
And I think he's going to run like around a 4.5 something. Like, he's not slow. Like, he's not like David Montgomery or Devin Singletary. He can hit home runs himself.
I would agree with that 100%. All right, let's jump to Lynn Bowden. Lynn Bowden Jr. of Kentucky, a guy who played slot receiver a ton, or receiver, I think mostly slot receiver in 2018.
Yeah, slot.
Quarterback goes down this year. Quarterback goes down. They go to their second stringer. That guy goes down. They're like, dude, Lynn Bowden, I know you played quarterback in high school. You want to step up the plate, potentially hurt your draft stock, and play quarterback for the Kentucky Wildcats this season. He says, yes, sir. Comes in, plays quarterback, doesn't throw the football a ton.
Well, he's like LaVisca. His favorite routes to the Wildcat.
Yeah, his favorite routes to direct snap. He gets a ton of those playing quarterback for Kentucky and blows the doors off guys from a rushing standpoint.
Yeah.
You go to that Louisville game, turn on the Louisville tape for Lynn Bowden Jr. Please do. Because the guy just destroys Louisville in that game. They know he's running the football. They don't think he's throwing the ball downfield. But this guy runs the football so well, forces missed tackles after the catch when he is playing receiver and when he just has the balls in his hands. I don't know if you want to consider him as a running back, receiver, a guy you want in your team. I don't care what position, but this guy has legit ability in terms of forcing missed tackles and gaining yards, creating yards with the ball in his hands.
I think if I was an NFL GM, I would consider him a running back because of how special he was as a runner this year. 55 broken tackles on 182 rushes.
That's absurd.
One of the highest rates in the country. Yeah. So a very high forced missed tackle rate, and he is just elusive. And then you add in his receiving ability. If he's a full-time receiver, not that special. But for a running back, it is different. Like, that's actually game-changing ability. So the ability to move him from the backfield to the slot, I think, is very valuable. And he has that. And he showed he can run between tackles. Like, as a quarterback, they were doing, like, quarterback power. Like, it was not just option runs where he's out in space. No, he's actually running between the tackles a lot of times, breaking tackles there. He was a little undersized, 6'1", 200. But I think he could very much do it.
I'm going to take you through Lynn Bowden Jr.'s last 2 games. Week 14 against Louisville, 278 rushing yards on 28 attempts, 12 forced missed tackles. Then he goes and plays Virginia Tech in the bowl game. 32 attempts, 223 yards, and 11 forced missed tackles. These are absurd numbers. Yeah. If he was just playing running back, he's playing quarterback position. I mean, Lynn Bowden is such a fantastic player. I really do think he is a special one. And get the ball in his hands, get him in an offense that's willing to get creative with his usage, because I think he can play in the slot. He can play outside, at running back and do different things. Give me some Wildcat with Lynn Bowden. I'm excited about him as a prospect. All right, let's jump to the next running back on this list, Eno Benjamin. Yeah, I think there's some people that are catching on that Eno Benjamin maybe isn't this top running back prospect. There's not a lot.
He had a rough year.
I didn't love his tape this past year.
Yeah, he's far too home run. Looking for the home run for my taste. Like, he's not the guy who's going to take what's there. And I mean, with that offensive line being as bad as it was this past season, there weren't a lot of home runs to be had. So he averaged only 4.2 per. Like, it's a rough year.
Bad for college.
Yeah, that's not good. Great. A lot of his rate stats fell down, only 2.9 yards after contact per attempt. You want to see that at least. Most of the top running backs are well over 3.5 in this class. He's not a guy who's going to drag defenders. Very much kind of a scat back profiles too at the next level. Which I like. He's super bouncy. Like, the dude can stop on a dime, can jump cut, make you miss in the hole. But again, with that running style, to me, is not one that translates well in the NFL. The guys that look for home runs, they're faster in the NFL. Defensive ends track you down in the NFL. It doesn't happen in college, but 280 pounders are running 4.6s tracking you down. So it's not going to be it's not as sweet as it looks there in the NFL.
Especially at the running back position, there's so many other guys you can attack, especially on like late day 2, day 3. You're looking at running backs that can offer significant value as these like kind of change of pace options. And I think Eno Benjamin, compared to some of the others in this class that are going to be available when he's available, I think you pass on him more than you do take him. All right, let's go to J.K. Dobbins of Ohio State. He, from a forced missed tackle perspective, actually had a pretty decent year this past year. 73 total forced missed tackles on 301 carries, averaged 4.01 yards after contact per attempt.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah, that's what you want to see in the running back there. Over 1,200 yards after contact. Yes, he had 2,000 yards rushing, but over 1,200 yards coming after contact for J.K. Dobbins.
I think he's just very good across the board. Like, he's just like solid. There's not one thing that he does maybe exceptionally well. Probably his best trait is vision. He's very good, very quick with his reads, one cut, lives with it, gets upfield, which that's the running style you want protecting the NFL. You want the guy that does that, not the guy who's looking for the home run. And he hit home runs because he was, because they did actually have a good offensive line there as well. That was, providing him some holes to run through, but then he maximized them, would make safeties miss, and then take it to the house. So he'll probably run, sub 4.5 if I had to bet. He has that sort of speed. Like I said, just very solid across the board. We're not going to draft him in the first round, but I could get on board with taking this guy day 2 somewhere.
Do you have a comp for J.K. Dobbins? Because I like his speed. I don't think he's a slow back. And at 5'10", 5'10", 215 pounds around there. I mean, he's solid. Can force missed tackles, not at the rate of Zach Moss, but he can do it in the open field, like you said. Sees it, hits it. I think I can't think of a comp comes right to my head right now, but I think J.K. Dobbins is an impressive back, has an impressive profile.
Let's see who I comped him to. I comped to Spencer Ware. Not a great comp.
Oh, man.
That's
poor guy.
Interesting.
All right. Well, J.K. Dobbins.
We might revisit that one for this.
Revisit after the combine, too. Yeah. Looking at where a player runs, how he tests in the agility drill, I think that's going to be important. And looking at, I kind of want to go back and watch more of his tape. You know what I mean? I think J.K. Dobbins ran behind a very impressive offensive line, had more holes than I'd say as Zach Moss and some others had. I think that can sometimes make it more difficult to see what this guy can do when situations not as ideal. But with J.K. Dobbins, I think an impressive player, not a guy you take in the first round, like you said, but one of which that on day 2, maybe day 3, you start to feel good about. All right, Keyshawn Vaughn. Dude, this guy was rocked up at the Senior Bowl. 5'9", like what, 205, 210, something in that range. I don't know if I'm in love with him as a running back prospect, but I think as a change of pace character, I can get on board.
Yeah, and he is another guy who's very much a one-cut back, and probably was the most one-cut backy of any back in this class. That was pretty bad of me. That didn't make too much sense. That didn't make too much sense. But he very much it has the running style that translates to the NFL. Now, 5'9", 205 is not a great size to translate to the NFL. He was the guy who was listed at 219 at Vanderbilt, and so they were just straight up lying to our faces every week about how big he was. But he had a much better year in 2018. Averaged 7.9 yards per attempt that year and 5.3 after contact. Took a bit of a step back, but still averaged 3.7 after contact. Like, that's a good number behind a bad offensive line in Vanderbilt. They were pretty much overmatched on a near weekly basis in the SEC. I'll say what it is, on a weekly basis in the SEC. But he's older, going to be 23 by the time he hits an NFL football field. As an Illinois transfer from back in the day, but I think he's probably going to go day 3. And of the guys who go day 3, he's going to be one of my favorite options.
There you go. I mean, I was looking for Keyshawn Vaughn, looking for his profile and premium stats, and there's a guy in the database named Kayvon Dingle. And I think that's just one of the craziest names.
You just had to bring it up.
Any name I've seen. So Kayvon Dingle, not Keyshawn Vaughn.
Man, if your last name's Dingle,
you're
in middle school, you just you're roasted every single day.
Kayvon Dingle. In 2018, Keyshawn Vaughn had an 88.5 overall grade, 86.6 rushing grade, and forced 40 missed tackles on 157 attempts, and maintained a similar rate this past year, 54 missed tackles on 199 attempts. I think the first thing that comes up with him, too, everyone said runs hard, runs tough. He breaks missed tackles with effort a lot of the times, too, running through contact and being a willing runner, like a thumper, if you will. I think I've heard that term with him before. All right, let's jump to A.J. Dillon. Talk about a thumper. 250 pounds. This guy brings the heat. But again, he's not going to have high force missed tackle rates. He's not going to have high breakaway percentage at the next level because he doesn't necessarily have that speed. And also,
he has good speed. It's just the agility.
Takes a long time to get there.
Yes, that's what it is. It's there. If he's not up at full speed, he's not going to break a tackle.
Yeah,
he has to be, and like. He's not, so it's almost counterintuitive the way he should be utilized. You need to get him almost like outside the tackles, running on inside zone, power, that sort of thing. When you have to be patient and then hit the hole, that's not going to be his best runs. Like, he's not going to be as best between the tackles. He's as best at full speed out in space. So very similar to, I think comp's probably Brandon Jacobs back in the day, where it's just like Brandon Jacobs had to really needed a full head of steam before, but then a full head of steam, Brandon Jacobs, pretty damn tough to bring down.
What do you think he weighs in at the combine? He's listed right now is 6 foot 250.
There's zero reason to be 250.
I know, that's what I was going to say. There's no way this guy shows up over, 250 plus. I mean, this guy's got to be.
Anything over 230 is just superfluous. You don't need that.
It's ridiculous. I don't know why you'd ever even opt for that. I mean, you look at Derrick Henry, he weighed in at 247 in 2016, but he's a lot taller. Yeah. Way taller.
And so back to Dylan, though, like I mentioned, the yards after contact, only 3.48. You think this is a guy that drags people, but no, he really doesn't, because between the tackles, he goes down pretty easily.
Oh man, it's going to be interesting what he weighs in at. Can I bring up a combine profile? Ricky Williams weighed in at 5'11", 244 pounds in 1990. Now, that's absurd.
Yeah. Ron Dane was 265 or something at the combine. I remember.
Oh my gosh, that is absurd. All right, AJ Dillon. I mean, it's just see what he weighs in. I hope if he's training, where he's training right now, I hope they're saying, hey, dude, get to 240. Drop that 10. You don't need that 10. But then when you look,
pretty yoked for
I know that's what I'm saying. We looked for that picture with his shirt off. That one. Well, we looked for it together, and AJ Dillon is actually pretty.
I was
rocked.
next to you while you looked.
I don't know how much more weight he could lose. I mean, this guy's got a ton of muscle on his frame. All right, let's jump to Jonathan Taylor. Some people see this guy as the top running back in the class, not PFF's #1 running back right now.
He's a bad receiver. We don't need to sugarcoat. He's a bad receiver. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Had massive drop issues heading into this year. They tried to help his draft. So he had 4 drops on 20 catchable passes the first 2 years at Wisconsin. And they made a concerted effort. He would come off the field on every passing down, too. His splits were crazy when he was on the field versus off. Tried to get him more touches this year. 37 targets, had 26 catches, but again, 4 drops. The drop issues are still there. Pretty ugly. So you're just going to have to live with it. He's not going to be that big of an addition to your passing game, but legit home run speed at 220 plus pounds. Probably going to run 4.4, something around there. He can take it to the house. Great zone vision. His run, Wisconsin system is, multiple tight ends. It's very much a pro style running game that he's behind. Young still. Yes, he has a lot of wear and tear on those tires. 300 plus carries he's averaged over the course of his career every single year. But the dude, he's graded really well. He's very much an NFL running back.
And he's not on the same tier as Zach Moss from a force missed tackle standpoint, but this guy does have plus force missed tackle ability.
And he's people bounce off him because he has such strong legs. That's how he breaks his tackles. He's kind of Derrick Henry in that regard. He's a stiff arm, bounce off my legs guy, not make you miss sort of running back out in space. That's never going to be him. He is the between the tackles running back you want if you want a between the tackles running back in this class. All
right, let's jump to DeAndre Swift of Georgia, a guy that we've raved about from a receiving standpoint, listed at 5'9", 215 pounds. This past year earned an 80.4 overall grade. Has graded in the 80s every year of his career at Georgia, dating back to 2017. This past season, over 1,200 rushing yards, 40 missed tackles. Not on the rate we'd like to see. You'd like to see if you're carrying the ball 150, 200 times, you need to be in the 60, 70 force missed tackle figures to really get comfortable about that rate. But the guy has good speed, good receiving ability, and you said this on a recent podcast. You said the difference between DeAndre Swift and the LSU running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not significant. And I'm in a situation now where if DeAndre Swift's getting mocked in the first round, top of round 2, there's no way. Because of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and what he could do for me on day 2 if I really wanted to force running back.
Yeah, they are very similar backs in that they're undersized, but they're probably the 2 of the best receiving backs in this class. Nightmares on angle routes, getting them out of the backfield. You can do a lot with them in the passing game. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire actually broke more tackle, at a better broken tackle rate, better sort of yards after contact. And he's the next.
I think he was more elusive. I think he's more elusive than DeAndre Swift.
He was. I just literally just quoted the figure about him being the second most elusive running back in this class. Swift only 0.2 force missed tackles per attempt. That was Clyde Edwards-Helaire was at 0.3, and obviously if you remember Zach Moss is at 0.38. So that's a big difference, and it's not going to. That hasn't been his game at Georgia, but I do think he's so good in the passing game. You can add so much value in that regard. But again, it's the value aspect. If people were talking about him as a 5th rounder, we'd love him. We'd be like, yo, this guy's way better.
DeAndre Swift in the 5th round would be nice.
Yeah. But if people were talking about his 1st rounder, we're like,
he's not a chance.
More like a midday.
I mean, top 50 pick is getting a little rich for me, in my opinion. I mean, when you have these.
Yes. Very much so.
With how deep receiver and cornerback is in this group, I don't know. Yeah. I can't get on board with that. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the next one on this list for the running back overview. And remember, all of these players that we listed, the quarterbacks and running backs, will be in the 2020 NFL Draft Guide that drops on February 24th for all Edge and Elite subscribers. I think it's 3 pages of profile, sometimes 4, depending on the position. I mean, this is going to be an incredible effort. Over 750 total pages. I dropped a comp for Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the timeline. I'm not sure if you saw it. It was kind of a high-end, low-end comp. Devontae Freeman, Trey Mason. Do you remember Trey Mason at Auburn? I liked Trey Mason at Auburn. He kind of went off the rails a little bit mentally. I don't know if you saw. Have you seen that? Have you seen that article or research?
No.
He kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. But Devontae Freeman is probably the better comp on the one I like more. I mean, I think they're similar backs, similar elusiveness, and they add similar value in the passing game.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Devontae Freeman comp. That's very. I think he's can add that much value. Like he's very built low to the earth, and those guys are tough to bring down. And you feel better about guys like that. And you like Devin Singletary coming out last year. Yeah, when you're built low to the earth, it's just like it's tough to tackle guys like that, and they're shifty. And he doesn't have great speed, but he has enough, that he can hit home runs as well.
All right, let's run through these next group of running backs here. Javon Leake and Levante Bellamy. Talk to me about these two prospects.
Yeah, Javon Leake wasn't even really a starter at Maryland, but he's got better size for the position than a guy like Anthony McFarland, his teammate, who we'll get to a little later here. 6 foot, 210. I had a really good year this past year is really his only year of playing time. So he declares early as a junior, had only 43 carries before this year, and only 103 this past year. But that's the running back position. I mean, that's small. That's the running back position. But he has the physical tools of an NFL running back, but we just really don't know at this point. Like, he had a really good broken tackle rate, 32 broken tackles on 103 carries.
4.88 really yards after contact per attempt average. That's good on a small sample size. I think testing will be important for this guy. I think no matter what, he's a day 3 type of player.
Exactly, because you can't have 103 carries.
This is a guy in the preseason next year. Like, who is this guy? Why is he wearing a single-digit number? Is that the only jersey they had left? And 2, he could maybe have a good preseason and stick on a roster. Javon Leake, small sample size right now. But like you said this since we started talking about the running back position on this podcast, you're never going to hate a running back for declaring early. Yeah. You just can't. I mean, even if you had this small sample size, your age is very important at that position. It only gets worse as you get in the NFL. All right, now jump to Levante Bellamy.
Yeah, Levante Bellamy, Western Michigan running back. Undersized dude, 5'9", 190, very much sort of scat bet profiles to have not going to be your every down guy, but home runs speed. Supposedly ran a sub 4.3 last offseason, was on Bruce Feldman's freaks list, and it very much is. Like, he is a home run type of hitter. And they gave him a heavy workload at Western Michigan, over 200 carries back in 2018, averaged 6 yards per carry and had 1,217 yards, and then 265 carries this past year for 1,471 yards. You're not going to drag defenders. He very much isn't going to break a ton of tackles. Like, he's not super agile, but straight line speed plays. Straight line speed can be a weapon all on its own. So I think that's what Levante Bellamy brings to the table. All
right, moving forward from Levante Bellamy, I'm going to take this one. Michael Warren. Michael Warren, the second from Cincinnati. I'll tell you his nickname right now. They call him Truck. And right now he's listed at 5'11", 218 pounds. I'll tell you right now, I don't think this guy's getting in at 5'11". This guy's more 5'10", low 5'10s. He's built like a meatball is how I would kind of project it, and he kind of runs like 1-2. Doesn't have great speed. Forces missed tackles because he's lower to the ground. I think 5'11's rich. Like I said, lower to the ground, and people just bounce off his legs. His legs are massive. Quiet guy. Had an opportunity to talk to him a ton when I was covering some Cincinnati Bearcats action.
Have we seen shirtless pics of him yet?
I haven't seen shirtless pics of him yet. He said he'd send me those tonight. Okay. But Michael Warren, though, when you talk to him, very quiet dude. Does not talk a lot of trash, and he's actually been in like this. For these past couple years with Cincinnati, he's been a little bit of a battle with their other running back there, Jared Dokes, or the Dokes train, as they like to call him. But he's been battling injuries, and with him battling injuries, Warren has had more of the snaps these past years and really run with it quite literally. Over 1,200 yards rushing each of the past 2 years at Cincinnati. 50 forced missed tackles in 2018, got up to 75 forced missed tackles in 2019. But I think what's really evident with those high forced missed tackle numbers, you look at the yards after contact per attempt, not getting over 4 is evident of this guy's kind of home run ability. He doesn't have great speed. I don't think he's going to impress people at the combine in that regard, but I do think
it's just not dynamic.
Exactly, not a super dynamic player, but on day 3, you feel good about throwing the truck in there. I'll say that.
Yeah, kind of like who was the Redskins running back a few years ago?
Samaje Perine?
No, Kelly.
Fat Rob. I think Fat Rob is a good comp for Michael Warren. I mean, when he weighs in at the combine, we actually get his height and weight. I think you'll have a better idea of a comp for him. But Fat Rob, I kind of like Fat Rob. That runs hard, but it goes back to your comment. If you have hair coming out of the back of your helmet, and
you always run hard.
You always run hard. It looks vicious.
If you have hair back of your helmet, you're either run hard if you're on offense or you're a high motor guy on defense.
Exactly. Well, Chase Winovich got drafted for that reason. No, I'm just kidding. He's also very good. Antonio Gibson, running back, receiver, coming out of Memphis.
This guy.
He is awesome. I like this guy.
He's not good as a receiver.
No, he's a bad receiver.
Man, him running routes, like there's a reason he's listed as the running backs and like will be playing running back in the NFL. His routes are pretty rough, but 6'2", 220, and freak of nature with the ball in his hands. Like how Memphis could afford to not play this guy with only 307 snaps in his career, 57 snaps before this year, and it's only 250 snaps this past season, and a lot of them just came down the stretch. But he had on 33 rushing attempts, had 16 broken tackles on 33 rushing attempts, and then he had something crazy as a receiver as well. Like his broken tackle rate. So on 38 receptions, he broke 17 tackles. Like the dude's tough to bring down. Very much almost reminiscent of kind of like Jawan Jennings is the way he breaks tackles, and that he's just great balance and just thickly built strength throughout his frame. So basically all his runs were kind of like outside zone or sweeps. He's not running normal concepts on those 33 carries. He's not the massive projection, but you like those tools and like the fact that he can actually catch out of the backfield, even though his routes are kind of rough.
Jumping to JaMycal Hasty, 5'9", 205-pounder out of Baylor, went to the Senior Bowl. I honestly didn't love his tape. I mean, he has dreads, and maybe you think he runs hard because of that. But like, I mean,
he's so small.
He's very small, and like his force tackle rate isn't something where like, oh my gosh, where you're really impressed with how elusive this guy is, despite his size. I can't. I don't know if I can get on board with him a ton compared to other guys with better size, better grading profiles, etc.
Yeah, and like he's a guy to where he's so small that he's not going to add to you can't have him in there in pass protection.
No.
Like he's just not going to be able to do that. And he has some sort of home run threat-ish ability, but he's a guy that goes down a little too easily on first contact.
Oh, he kind of reminds me of Dalen Dawkins, a Colorado State guy. Remember the running back? I mean, kind of smaller back that, like, again, had dreads, didn't have great force miss tackles, but you're really excited about him because he looks like he's running hard. Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting on that train a little bit there.
Yeah, but and it's like guys that small are the kind of guys that look super impressive in college. It's like, oh damn, like this guy's gonna be, that dynamicism, like it's gonna translate to the NFL, and then like guys in the NFL don't get juked out of their shoes nearly as much as guys do in college. No. Like and then once you get a hand on him, he goes down, and then you're not offering that much value at that point.
All right, going to LaMichael Pirine, running back of Florida, related to Samaje Pirine.
Who they're very similar.
They are very similar, and I didn't like both. I didn't like players.
Samaje
I don't like Samaje Pirine. I don't really like LaMichael Pirine. I think you look. Here's what I'll say: he's had over 130 attempts each of the past 3 years. Has yet to break more than 30 tackles in a single season. His yards after contact numbers aren't great, and it's largely. I mean, this guy doesn't have home run speed. Yeah. I don't think he's impressively elusive, let alone like even average from an elusive standpoint.
His force miss tackle rate was 170th in the nation this past year,
and you see that on tape. This guy gets tackled on first contact, and even when given open lanes, doesn't take advantage of him to the best of his ability because he's not a home run hitter.
He's like a very poor man's J.K. Dobbins.
How poor? Broke? Is this a broke man?
Or like he's just Dobbins? Like he's got really good vision, and he does the little things about the running back position. Very much looks like a running back, but then like doesn't break tackles and is not dynamic, and just kind of is just a guy. Like just a guy is very much the term to use for.
And being just a guy at the running back position means you're almost near worthless. I mean, because most running backs are replaceable when you get to there, but just a guy at the running back position, what are you going to do with that?
Exactly.
Unfortunate. All right, Joshua Kelly,
UCLA running back, has good size and speed. I just not know agility. Like his agility just stood out on tape as not necessarily being good. Like he just was not gonna make a guy miss in the hole or run a guy over or anything like that. And I didn't love his vision either. He did all right this past year in terms of 42 broken tackles on 229 attempts is like fine. Like that's whatever. But I don't know. I was just not a fan of this guy's game for some reason. 4.6 yards per attempt this past season and 2.8 yards after contact per. Rough numbers.
All right, Darius Anderson of TCU, 5'11", 212 pounder, earned an 82.2 PFF rushing grade this past year, a career high for him. Has had over 120 carries over the past 3 seasons, and I think had a better year this past year. I think there's this past season is a reason why he's on NFL radars right now. But again, not a special back in my opinion.
His running style is so different. He almost looks like a wide receiver who they just threw at running back because he'll come to a full stop up in the backfield. Like his pacing is all over the map in terms of how he attacks. But he is super, like from a standstill, he can get up to full speed quickly. He's one of those guys. Like he has that explosiveness to him, has that agility. But I just like he's so sloppy as a runner. He's got a ways to go in that regard. But there's something to work with. Like dynamic athletes at the running back position. I'd rather take my chance on a guy like him than a guy like Michael P. Ryan.
Absolutely. Oh, I mean, you compare the athleticism. You're talking about a guy who has actual legit high end at the next level.
And this past season, 3.9 yards after contact and 43 broken tackles on 153 carries is a pretty good rate.
3 running backs left on the running back overview. Remember, all these players in the 2020 NFL Draft Guide. Cam Akers of Florida State ran behind one of the worst offensive lines in football since he's been
Florida
in college.
State's offensive lines have been comically bad. And it's funny because there's the FSU offensive line coach a few years back. I remember it was like Dante Scarnecchia is the only guy who knows how to coach my offensive lineman in the NFL or whatever, like straight up said that.
Oh, man.
And it's like, dude, I'm not sure you know how to coach your own offensive line.
Oh, man, that's troubling.
Because like they've been one of the worst offensive lines among Power 5. I mean, I guess it's like F in all of college football for like 5 straight years.
Cam Akers was hit at or behind the line of scrimmage at a higher rate than any running back in the country. And I think he was at a very similar rate in 2018. I mean, this guy has not had tough sledding, puts it lightly. And I think his forced missed tackle numbers reflect that. He's forced a ton of missed tackles behind the line of scrimmage because he's had to. I want to see what Cam Akers looks like behind just an average offensive line. I want to see what Cam Akers can do with a little breathing room because right now, I mean, it's hard to really evaluate him when every play he's having to have expert vision to turn it into a big gain.
And Anthony Schresch wrote a great article about the guys with the most to gain at the combine. I think Cam Akers was one of them at the running back position because he blows it up like you can fall in love with his high end.
This guy's a former 5-star. This guy was heavily recruited coming out.
Pretty legit physical tools. If he really goes there and tests like the best running back, not even 21 years old yet, he could still play his way into a day 2 type of pick.
I mean, this guy was the #1 running back prospect in the country.
Dude, someone should have told him not to go to FSU.
And went to one of the worst situations. I mean, that is just a huge concern for him because I think his production would have been stupid at Wisconsin, stupid at Clemson. These other offenses that have just like above average offensive lines. Again, going to Florida State, the production hasn't been there for Cam Akers. Anthony McFarland, you touched on him a little bit. The Maryland running back has worse size than Javon Leake, but he's been handed the ball a little bit more there too. Yeah,
he runs hard, and he actually does run hard. I don't think that's just the dreads talking, but he very much runs hard, and I just don't think he has great sort of top end speed and runs hard, but at 190 pounds. And it's like, what do you do with that in the NFL? Like you can bowl over college DBs at that size, but I just don't think I'm not sure it's gonna work out. And he had a monster year back in 2018, sophomore, 131 carries, averaged 7.9 yards per attempt, 3.9 after contact, and has had pretty good broken tackle rates each of the past 2 years. But I don't know. I'm not sold on 5'8", 193 and running hard being enough to. Yeah. So maybe he does have something to gain if he shows up maybe like the 210 range, which that'd be a big leap. But I don't know. We'll see.
Last running back on the overview here, it's Reggie Corbin of Illinois. Was kind of one of my guys after the 2018 season, but older prospect, almost 24 years old.
That's
former rugby.
Wild, right?
Yeah. That's not great for the running back position. His forced missed tackle rate isn't great. I think he's got good speed, and I think in the open field he can do a lot of good things. But he struggles when he doesn't get a ton of room. Yeah. And when you struggle when you don't get a ton of room, it's hard to predict. His CABLOS numbers, contact at or behind the line of scrimmage, his yards after that is not great. And I like the former rugby narrative. I kind of got on board with the 2018 season, but I'm off him a little bit after this past year.
It's definitely tough. And that's why like the small sample size is this thing. It's like he only had 128 carries. Yeah. And he hit a ton of home runs on those 128 carries.
Because he can hit a home run.
Yeah.
He's got good speed. I think Reggie Corbin's got great speed.
His cutting ability is ridiculous. Like he had some cuts in there where it wasn't just like a 90-degree cut. He like a 120-degree cut. Like the dude was like stopping and going the other way and like didn't lose any speed on it. Really impressive in that regard. Built really low to the earth. But he doesn't really have. He hit a lot of home runs, but I don't think he's going to run even like sub 4.5. I don't think he's that fast. And if you're not fast,
he runs over 4.5. I'm telling you right now, that's not good.
Yeah,
he needs to be in the 4.4, so you even get bordered in him as like this kind of change of pace kind of style. So Reggie Corbin, that sucks.
Yeah, a little low.
I liked him.
Late day 3 guy.
Yeah, late day 3 guy. Unfortunately for the former Illini. That's going to do it for the quarterback and running back class overview for the 2020 NFL Draft. Remember all of those players in PFF's 2020 NFL Draft Guide. And that's it. Austin Gayle, Mike Renner, 2-for-1 drafts.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.